Craig's speech is determination is more important than talent. Craig, determination is more important than talent.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow members, guests. In 6 minutes, I'm going to give you a rundown of my 35 years in three phases. Firstly, my schooling years. Secondly, my young adulthood years. And thirdly, my parenthood years. The diagram on the board outlines the ages that I was during those years. But before I start, I want to give you an idea of my personal mantras, some of the things that make me tick. Firstly, determination is more important than talent. Hard work is required to achieve at anything. You can't just rely on natural talent alone. Secondly, you have to be prepared to make it happen. You have to be prepared to take action to achieve your goals and your dreams. Let me start with my schooling. I spent 13 years at Ivanhoe Grammar Boys School. Tie, blazer. For me, school was all about playtime. All I wanted to do was run around and kick the ball and play with my mates. There was a moment in grade 3 when Mrs. Murray, my classroom teacher, had noted that I was quite an exceptional athlete, and she encouraged my parents to sign me up into Little Athletics. Now what an occasion that was. Little Athletics, I made some of the best, my greatest friends in my childhood at Little Athletics. I set records, and with achievement came recognition. In grade 6, there was a moment in the schoolyard. A teacher stopped me, pulled me aside and said, "Congratulations, Craig, well done. I just received the award of the junior school sports champion." Now that moment was quite memorable because it instilled a great sense of confidence and pride in myself as a person. And I started to get a perception of who I was as a person, and I developed an intrinsic motivation to achieve in my athletics. Another striking moment was in year 7. Now I was, due to lack of diligence with my studies, I was placed in remedial English. Now that was embarrassing. I was gutted to be set aside from my school mates, and that was a defining moment. At that point I decided I had to start concentrating more on my studies, so I started to apply myself and become more determined. Now the teacher of the other English class was Frank Typhoon Tyson. He was a famous English cricketer, and I really wanted to get into the class, and I did. So from that I started to commit myself to my studies, and the reward came in year 12 when I received the score good enough to get me into my first place at university. So if I move into my young adulthood years, 18 years old, went into a Bachelor of Applied Science Sports Coaching Administration at Deakin University, Burwood campus. David Parkin, the famous Carlton football coach, was my course coordinator. There was a moment in class when David, in front of the peer group, focused on one student who was showing a lack of commitment and dedication, and he asked a question in front of all the peer group: "Do you really want to be here?" Now I knew the answer to that question. The answer to the question for me was yes, I really wanted to be there. I'd worked hard and toiled hard to get my position in that course, and unfortunately for this young fellow, he wasn't there the next semester. So after university I decided I wanted to travel. So I sold my car, cashed it in for a 64-day Camp America tour around the United States. I also picked up a working visa and taught tennis in the United States. I came back at 23 years old, and I saw an opportunity to join the Australian Army. So I joined in the reserves, and they offered a challenge. They offered tax-free pay, which was quite an incentive for someone who wanted tax-free pay. They also offered the ability to be challenged, and you learnt about mateship, discipline, trust, respect for rank. I can literally say that in a short few weeks boot camp, I went in as a boy and came out as a more mature man. So from 23 to 28, I decided all I wanted to do was travel and work. So I spent a year in Canada, 2 years in Colorado and 3 years in North Carolina. So I came back at the age of 28, back to Australia, and I was just home for a summer in Australia, and I met my wife, my future wife. So I met her in December and we were married by April the 8th. By April the 14th, I was back on a plane to the United States and my wife came with me. Now, in a few short months later, she'd fallen pregnant and I came back to Australia at the end of that summer because the only place for me was to live in Australia. Now, so I came back to Australia and within 3 months of the birth of my son, I got my big break into local government. Now that was where I am today. I'm in local government. So the reason I'm here today is to develop my public speaking skills and that's also leadership skills. So I guess in summarising, I'd like to sort of make it known that I believe there's 3 types of people in the world. There are those that make it happen, there are those that think about making it happen, and there are those that don't even know it happened in the first place. And I ask you all, which one do you want to be? I want to make it happen. Now looking back, that was the people that guided and supported me throughout my journey that were quite inspirational and helped put me in the right direction. So what I would like to reiterate to everyone is just remember this phrase: determination is more important than talent. You can't just rely on just natural ability alone. You need to work hard to achieve. So I hope that gives you an insight into Craig, myself and Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.